the end of the last video I created for chapter 3, section 1, I talked about different manipulatives that can be used when you're introducing arithmetic in our base 10 place value system with students. And in this section, I have several examples here with images of how these could be used. I am not going to read through the examples. I think they're pretty self-explanatory, but I do want to take a few minutes to give you some of the terms that are introduced in this section. So our system is a positional notation system. Let me turn my pen on here. We use the same numerals 0 through 9, but it is their position that tells us their worth. So for instance, if I have just a single 1, it means 1. But if I put that 1 in a different place value, now it represents 100. Okay, so its position determines its value. And that can be a big deal for some students to comprehend because the 1 is not changing, it's just its position. So what I have done here in this section is I've got images to go through how we can represent numbers with units, strips, and mats. And the first one says, suppose a number is represented by 15 units, 11 strips, and 2 mats. And it goes through the process of regrouping. So starting out with the 15 units, 11 strips, and 2 mats. And then it shows the regrouping of the units to strips, and then 10 of the strips into a mat. So you can see that regrouping process in this first example. And on the next page, I'm going to give you one more definition here. It's the word algorithms. So we don't think about it, but we're using an algorithm when we do arithmetic. When we're adding and subtracting, we're actually doing an algorithm. We're going through a procedure. If I were to ask you to add 135 and 243, I'm very doubtful that any of you would take out a piece of paper and draw out 135 dots and 243 dots and then count them all and get your answer that way. You're going to follow some sort of an algorithm. Whether you start with the ones places and work your way left, or whether you start with the hundreds and work your way to the right, you're going through an algorithm. So just to highlight that we tend to add together our different place values. I have those highlighted here with pictures. And then if you want to make it more abstract even, you can use place value cards. So instead of having those full manipulatives, you could have place value cards. So with the ones place, tens place, and 100s place in this case marked off. So 135, 130, 3 tens for 30, and then 5 ones, and do the same thing for 243. It's just taking it a little more abstract. So when you add, here's your 300, 7 tens, 8 ones. There's 378. And then you can abstract that even more and create the final algorithm that we are more used to seeing, okay? So again, when you're teaching, you want to place particular emphasis on the place values. You want to show 5 and 3 is 8. That's in the ones place. When you're adding the 3 and 4 and getting the 7 all the way here on the right, you're really adding 30 and 40. And the same things with the hundreds place. So again, you're going to start more concrete with those manipulatives and then work your way to something that is more abstract, an abstract way of looking at these numbers. We know when we add 1 and 2 and get the 3 here, we're talking about the hundreds, but if you were to just show this to a younger child, they're not going to see that. So you want to make sure you really emphasize the place values in our system. I have another example that's going to work through 357 plus 274. So this one has some regrouping and exchanging happening. So you can look through that example. I've got it with the manipulatives, place value cards, and then our final algorithm. So again, you can look through that at your leisure. I want to give you one more, and I believe this is my last definition for this section, but one more definition here. We talk about, for subtraction, a partial difference or instructional algorithm. When we're subtracting, just like when we're adding, we deal with one digit at a time. We go one place value at a time. And you have more exchanging and regrouping that's going to happen with subtraction. So obviously this is going to be more complicated for children. But again, you can follow the same procedure as with adding. Start with your manipulatives. Here I've got the units, strips, and mats. Subtracting 243 from 375. What's left over? It's that idea of taking things away now. Then the place value cards. And then again, our final algorithm. So very similar process-wise, just now we're subtracting. And then I have another example, 185 from 362. So here you're going to have to do some exchanging of these units. And I've got an example that's going to walk through that again with the manipulatives, then the place value cards, and then finally in the most abstract way with our algorithms. Since everything is already kind of detailed in these pictures and diagrams, went through this section rather quickly on the video. If you have any questions at all about any of these processes, about any of the algorithms, please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to talk you through them if you need the extra help, okay? Have a great one.